This is Danish Info News TV, your Danish English news updates and business from November 27 through December 4th. Greetings and welcome. In today's headlines, we look at expulsion of the mentally ill, scams and sex crimes to a massive fraud case, smuggling of hash and cocaine, and a huge drug seizure in a police operation, and much more. Stay informed with the latest developments across the country. We begin with a promise update on escort case. Friday, November 21st, police warn against extortion from escort services, Funen. Police warn about text messages in which citizens are pressured by escort services. In a Facebook post, the police department wrote that in the past 2 months, they have received several reports from citizens who are being threatened to pay a sum of money to prevent the disclosure that they had visited escort sites or prostitutes. The messages also contained death threats. The police warn against paying money to the extortionists. Police warn about Black Friday scams. North Jutland police warn on X about the scams. According to the police, signs of fraud includes items being far too cheap, the price being an odd amount, the web address looks strange, the amount or store name changing when the purchase is approved, or if there is no About Us page on the website you are buying from. Now to the first of our main story. Thursday, November 27, men charged with smuggling 32 kilos of hashish via ferry to Aarhus. East Jutland police found 32 kilos of hash in the trunk when 2 men disembarked from the ferry in Aarhus. It was reported in their daily report. 2 men aged 27 and 29 are to appear Thursday for a preliminary hearing at the Aarhus court. In a different main story, Thursday, November 27, Iraqi national mentally ill and previously convicted of attempted murder to be expelled. Judgment delivered November 27. An Iraqi national stabbed an 81-year-old man multiple times in February of 2024 while legally insane and was committed to a psychiatric facility without a fixed term. The Supreme Court considered only the question of expulsion. It ruled that despite A's mental illness at the time, the seriousness of the crime justified expulsion under Section 26(2) of the Danish Aliens Act. A 6-year entry ban was imposed, which the court found does not violate Article 8 of the European Convention of Human Rights. The court also clarified that after the ban, A has a genuine opportunity to apply for a visa to Denmark. Still on Thursday, November 27, in another main story, Slagelse, a 64-year-old man from Slagelse was sentenced to 2 years in prison for multiple sexual offenses, including grooming, indecent acts, attempted stalking, and violating a restriction order. He was also banned from contacting, visiting, or living with minors. The offenses involved boys aged 8 to 16, and he used fake social media profiles to manipulate and exploit them. The man had prior convictions for rape and stalking of minors and has been in custody since his arrest on August 20 of 2024. Special Prosecutor Susanna Bloom said the sentence sends a clear signal that such behavior is completely unacceptable. On Friday, November 28, young men sentenced to over 17 years in massive fraud case. 3 young men were sentenced to a total of 17 years and 6 months in prison for a large-scale, organized fraud targeting businesses, involving over 20 million Danish kroner, about half of which was successfully obtained. The group, in an operation called Waterfall, stole company identities, ordered expensive goods such as cars, machinery, and electronics, and resold them after delivery to inconspicuous locations. The sentences were Simon Hesselberg, 26, 6 years, Kevin Civic, 22, 6 years and 12-year expulsion, and Nicholas Langton, 29, 5.5 years. Langton has appealed, and the other two are considering appeals. In a different main story from Saturday, November 29, 49-year-old remanded in custody for smuggling 40 kilos of cocaine. A 49-year-old man extradited to Denmark from Spain late Thursday evening admitted to being involved in smuggling a total of 40 kilos of cocaine. This emerged during a preliminary hearing at the Copenhagen City Court on Friday. According to the charges read in court, the case is based on communications via the encrypted service EncroChat in spring of 2020. The preliminary hearing resulted in the man being remanded in custody for 19 days. In a main story from Tuesday, December 2nd, man sentenced to 10 years for major drug case in Hjørring. A 29-year-old man was sentenced to 10 years in prison by the Hjørring court for possessing over 21 kilos of amphetamine, nearly 6,000 ecstasy pills, and almost 400 grams of ketamine. The drugs were found during a search in Hjørring municipality on June 16 of 2025, according to prosecutor Carlos Dahl from North Jutland Police. The man received his sentence and was taken into custody immediately. In a main story from Monday, December 1st, man loses 100,000 Danish kroner in pirate taxi incident. A man from Funun took an unlicensed taxi home after a Christmas party. The driver offered him a beer that, according to police, most likely contained some form of drug. The victim became incapacitated, allowing the driver to steal his phone, which contained several registered credit cards. Withdrawals and purchases exceeding 100,000 Danish kroner were made. Funun police warned that it is a high season for fraud and urged people to be vigilant and help each other, according to TV2. In a main story from Tuesday, December 2nd, 1,124 Syrians granted permanent residence in past year. While the government is working on measures to encourage Syrian refugees to return home, more than 1,000 Syrians have received permanent residence in Denmark over the past year. Between December of 2024 and October of 2025, 1,124 Syrians were granted permanent residence, according to Berlingske. Citing new figures from the Ministry of Immigration and Integration, an additional 1,225 cases for the same period are still pending. In a main story from Wednesday, December 3rd, municipality held responsible for home care workers' fraud. A home care worker in Kerteminde municipality was convicted of defrauding an elderly couple of over 249,000 Danish kroner by abusing their trust and gaining access to their MitID. The sons discovered the fraud after their father's death and reported it to police. The worker received a 1-year suspended sentence and a ban for working in care services. The family expressed anger that the municipality had hired him despite knowing about a previous theft conviction. The municipality declined to comment, stating that criminal records are always checked during hiring. The worker expressed regret and stated that people convicted of financial crimes should not be employed in such roles. Now to some main stories from Thursday, December 4th. Large quantities of drugs seized in a police operation. On December 3rd, 2025, North Jutland Police conducted a large coordinated operation against drug trafficking at locations in Aalborg East, Voldskov, and Nørresundby. The operation focused on opioids and other narcotics, with multiple police units participating. Large quantities of drugs were seized, including approximately 160,000 opioids tablets, 156 kilos of hash, 150 grams of cocaine, and around 300 puff bars, and a significant amount of cash. Several individuals were arrested, and three, of which two men, 28 and 37, and a woman, 47, all from Aalborg, were remanded in custody for 14 days the following day. They faced charges for possession of the seized drugs and extensive previous drug trafficking. Police investigations are ongoing and preliminary hearings were held behind closed doors. Chief Inspector Jesper Boygaard said the operation successfully removed large quantities of drugs from the streets and highlighted the concerning spread of highly addictive opioids. Further arrests are not ruled out. In another drug case from December 4th, 43-year-old sentenced for role in drug network. The calling court sentenced a 43-year-old man to 7 years in prison for possession and sale of drugs. The case was handled by the National Unit for Special Crime, NSK. Between February of 2025 and his arrest in June of 2025, the man, together with a previously convicted accomplice, possessed approximately 3.4 kilograms of cocaine, 1.95 kilograms of MDMA, and nearly 1.7 kilograms of hash for resale. The drugs were stored in a basement at the accomplice's residence. In another main story from 4th, 20-year-old arrested for attempting to lure young girls. A 20-year-old Greenlandic man was remanded in custody after attempting to lure two girls, aged 8 to 9, into a parking garage and a stairwell. On Østels Boulevard on Monday and Tuesday, the girls escaped unharmed. Following the incidents, Amager local police increased patrols in the area and apprehended a man matching the description given by the children. Still on Thursday, December 4th, to our last of our main stories, 8,800 fake Labubu dolls seized with harmful chemicals. Authorities in Sweden, Norway, and Denmark have seized 8,800 counterfeit Labubu dolls over the past 6 months. Analysis revealed that the dolls contain illegal and harmful chemicals prohibited in toys in the EU, according to the Danish Environmental Protection Agency. The monster-like dolls have become popular collectibles. Consumers are advised to only buy dolls from official retailers. Now to other news. We begin on Thursday, November 27. Dan Bunkering and Bunker Holding are reported to police for alleged war crimes tied to supplying jet fuel to Russian forces in Syria. Legal experts say 4 major weight loss clinics systemically break the law through illegal marketing on social media. A 25-year-old Afghan man is charged with human smuggling after arriving in Rolbyhavn with an Afghan woman using fake Turkish passports. 16 bikers have their sentences roughly halved in a Christiania assault case after the High Court overturns key parts of the original verdict. A 46-year-old man is shot in the leg near Vejle. The suspect fled in a white BMW later found by police. A man stabbed near Torpinsvege in Brøndby and taken to hospital. Police share no further details. A 17-year-old boy is hospitalized after being attacked with a knife and a bat in a Høje Gladsaxe. 7 people suddenly fell ill at a Torstrup address. All were hospitalized, but authorities have found no explanation. 3 pig farmers are reported to police after a TV2 documentary allegedly shows clear violations of animal welfare laws. 4 in 10 parents have dropped off sick children at a daycare in the past year, a new survey shows. Parliament is debating a proposal to improve rights for families. All regions will open clinics for complex cancer after effects by mid-2026. 4 billion krona in holiday money remain unclaimed, with 850,000 people yet to withdraw their money before year-end. Friday, November 28 news. Romanian man convicted in Struer, 41-year-old man sentenced to 4 years for rape and attempted rape of a 14-year-old, permanently expelled from Denmark. A man and a woman have been arrested in connection with the suspected kidnapping of a young Swedish girl who was found in Copenhagen airport last week. A 28-year-old man receives 12 years in prison for killing a 19-year-old in Aarhus with a machete, knife, and axe. 3 others are convicted of violent assault resulting in death. A 38-year-old man robbed a gas station in Brabrand with scissors, stealing 2 bottles of wine. He was arrested 40 minutes later. A fatal truck collision near Nørresnede killed a 40-year-old Polish driver and a 56-year-old Danish man. Around 600 pigs were euthanized after the crash. 5 men with past links to bandidos are convicted of attempted murder after mistakenly shooting a 55-year-old man walking his dog in 2021. 4 people aged 36 to 70 are charged with theft and handling of stolen Skive Festival 2022 tickets worth 625,000 krona. A 34-year-old man is charged after arriving in Rødby Havn in an overloaded van packed with guløl and without valid travel documents. A major fire in Timbia leads to evacuations and reports of residents jumping from windows. 1 person has been found dead, no crime suspected. An 83-year-old man is killed after being hit by a truck in Nuuk. Police are seeking witnesses. The Danish frigate Niels Juel is participating in the NATO exercise Freezing Winds to strengthen defense cooperation in the Baltic region. The government extends the zero quota for lumpfish stenbider fishing into 2026 due to low stock levels. A new app, Alt-ID, will launch in the spring as a digital ID wallet for Danes, offering digital age and identity verification. Now to news from Saturday, November 29. 3 men are charged with separate incidents of nightlife violence in Kolding and Horsens, including assaults on staff and police officers. A 74-year-old man has died after being hit by a vehicle near Onsved in North Zealand early Saturday. Relatives have been notified. Security measures for Denmark's upcoming EU presidency are expected to cost around 150 million krona, with some funding already allocated and the rest to come from a government reserve. More than half of financially vulnerable parents receive Red Cross Christmas aid, say they cannot afford daily fruit and vegetables for their children. Nearly 1 in 5 have skipped necessary meals for their kids due to lack of money. Sunday, November 30th. Lars Løkke Rasmussen visited Israel, Palestine, and Syria, urging Israel to maintain the ceasefire, discussing reforms in Ramallah, and agreeing with Syria to strengthen cooperation and help refugees return. Over 1,200 young people on Funun have been charged with drug driving. Over the past 5 years, hash is the most common substance. Nationwide, nearly 17,000 young people face similar charges. 1 person died in a residential fire in Odense. Authorities are investigating. In a peculiar case, a 38-year-old man broke into a kindergarten in Randers to take a bath. He is charged with burglary and theft. A man in his late 20s was jailed after a car chase in Nyborg, during which a police officer hung partly out of the vehicle No injuries reported. Record ticket sales for DSB during the Christmas period, over 20% more than last year, with expectations of 250,000 tickets sold. PostNord prepares for record holiday package volumes with extra staff, more collection points, and a competition in competizing pickup within 24 hours. 31% of people with disabilities withdraw from social activities. Many report feeling treated as less worthy or infantilized. Now to Monday, December 1st. Aarhus. Police suspect a family dispute in connection with the stabbing of a 27-year-old man on Sunday evening at Skyby Hospital. The victim is stable, but authorities report he has not been very cooperative with the investigation. Copenhagen City Court rejects a request to block the publication of a book about the late Bandidos president, Michael Koch-Rosenvold. The book goes on sale Monday morning. A 31-year-old man is sentenced to 6 years in Joring for rape of his ex-girlfriend and continuing Bandidos activities. He was found guilty on 22 counts, including threats, stalking, and psychological abuse. 6 people with links to the hooligan scene were arrested in connection with a brutal assault on a Brøndby IF fan coordinator in October. All have since been released. The number of parallel communities in Denmark fall from 8 to 5 for the second consecutive year. The Askerød housing area in Greve is removed from the ghetto list due to fewer residents with criminal records and more in work or education. A firework retailer in Ringsted was fined 25,000 kroner for selling improperly labeled fireworks. DI Vice CEO Thomas Bustrup receives a formal warning after being charged with drunk driving. A court hearing is set for December 8. Aarhus Municipality gets Disability Award for creating an inclusive workplace for people with disabilities. Copenhagen Court begin using a new high-security courthouse connected to Vestre Prison via tunnel after years of delay. Danish emergency services advise watering Christmas trees, wreaths, and decoration to reduce fire risk. A lotto winner in Lem has yet to claim an over 1,200,000 krone prize for a 6-week 10-line ticket. Now to news from Tuesday, December 2nd. Region Midtjylland blocked 345 million hacker attempts and 22.5 million malicious emails in November, including phishing attacks. 3 suspects were charged after several drivers were duped by phony roadside assistants that demanded money. A 28-year-old man charged with financing terrorism, collecting 5.6 million kroner for Hamas, was released. A 59-year-old remains in custody. A man dies after being hit near Odense, Bengal. Authorities suspect no crime. A 43-year-old man was arrested for assault on a bus after believing he was being filmed during sexual activity. A woman with a knife was also arrested. A 22-year-old man was sentenced to psychiatric placement for fatally stabbing his father in Grænsted last year. Østre Landsret changes a rape verdict. A 23-year-old sentenced to 16 months for assault on a woman at Antroskov Kaserne in January of 2024. A 37-year-old man was sentenced to 1.5 years for severe animal abuse, including sexualized violence, from 2016 to 2021. Prison staff in Denmark are to receive a 35 million kroner bonus in December as part of the retention package. The Copenhagen court begins trial against Recom and Nightplay over alleged misleading Trustpilot reviews. Both deny wrongdoing. 98% of Danish children and youth aged 8 to 25 use at least one social media platform. Children 8 to 12 average 2 profiles, and young adults 18 to 25 average 8. Wednesday, December 3rd. A 36-year-old Latvian man was remanded for 20 days after threatening to have explosive in his bag at Copenhagen airport and charged with threatening life and health. Female pedestrian found dead in Hvidovre. Police suspect a hit and run. A 44-year-old woman was found dead in Sulbia near Aarhus. There is no criminal suspicion. A 47-year-old woman reported missing Tuesday was found dead near Christiansfeld. Relatives were notified. Fyn police warn of counterfeit 500 krona notes. Approximately 20 incidents were reported last week. A 66-year-old woman in Colombo was scammed out of a card, jewelry, and 20,000 Danish krona in cash. A 42-year-old Danish man arrested for posing as a psychologist at 5 workplaces using fake degrees, charged with forgery, fraud, and violating psychologist law. Police search for suspects who ran over a 16-year-old boy twice in Esbjerg, believed to be a personal conflict. A Danish man from Rudersdal wins over 149 million Danish krona in Eurojackpot, the 6th largest Danish lottery prize. Thursday, December 4th. 3 young men aged 20, 21, and 23 charged for attempting to detonate a 4.4 kilos of bomb in December of 2023 in Odense, endangering multiple lives. 4 others, including a 17-year-old Swede, previously sentenced up to 10 years, all appealed. A 22-year-old man was sentenced to 10 months for attacking his father-in-law with a rubber hammer, planned with help of AI to maximize harm without killing. Omar Musa was sentenced to 12 years for the 2012 murder of Jonas Thomsen Sikier in Copenhagen Skuldbyen. The sentence was reduced by 2,156 days for time served in Africa. A 16-year-old boy from Kyiv was charged with aggravated assault, illegal possession of firearm, and arson against 2 cars. He was previously known to police. Body found near Volsko in November identified as a 23-year-old man, missing since August of 2025. No criminal suspicion. A 61-year-old healer was sentenced to 4-month probation for negligent bodily harm for giving a woman dragblod, sangro di grado, at a 2020 healing weekend. The victim had also ingested ayahuasca. The Consumer Ombudsman opens an investigation into a bridal store wedding deluxe over potential violations of marketing law. About 12 cars were vandalized overnight in Kastrup, tires punctured. Police are investigating a possible link to similar November incident in Frederiksberg. Now to some Danish business news from November 27 to December 3rd. Ilva reported to police the Consumer Ombudsman have filed a police report against Ilva for 29 instances of misleading marketing and violating price labeling rules. Ilva alleged advertising items as discounted for extended periods, making the price reduction misleading. Selling moves into Rødovre Centrum. The department store Selling will open a new location in Rødovre Centrum next autumn. New fuel price rules. From December 1st, petrol and diesel companies must display current pump prices both at the station and online, aiming to increase competition and more dynamic pricing. Pizza Hut bankrupt in Denmark. The chain closes all 13 Danish restaurants. A curator has been appointed. Novo Nordisk launches Ozempic in India, targeting India's large diabetic population. The company will introduce its diabetes drug in December. Second-hand stores see revenue decline. Danish second-hand shops had 7.1% drop in 2024. after 4 years of growth. Historic Danish football club near bankruptcy. B1909 in Odense faces insolvency. The municipality will not provide further loans or support. ISS stock drop after Hong Kong fire. Danish service group ISS fell after subsidiary fire. At least 151 deaths. Investigation ongoing. Tryg chairman steps down. Joka Potela resigns. Deputy Stefan Kau proposed as new chairman. Odense University Hospital to cut 250 jobs. Reduction of 2.3% of staff planned for 2026 to stay within budget. Founder of TS Tech declared bankrupt. Thomas Beck Sandholt personally bankrupt. Appeal pending. Terma acquires drone defense firm. Danish defense company Terma buys UK-based OSL technology. Financial terms undisclosed. Danish Industrial and Novo Nordisk Foundation invest in nuclear power. Members of the Nuclear Alliance aim to fund nuclear energy projects possible including Danish plants. Death of Denmark's first female central bank director, Bodil Nybo Andersen, passed away at 85. She led Denmark's national bank from 1990 to 2005. That's all for today's top stories. Don't forget to subscribe to Danish Info News TV and hit the notification bell so you never miss an update on breaking news from Denmark.